Hey everybody, it's Pup Twigs here from Orlando, Florida, and I got joining me today is Gibby from Boulder, Colorado. How are you?
I'm doing pretty all right today.
Good, good. So I love your setup there.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I put a lot of time into it.
I love blinking lights, flashing lights, all kinds of lights. I got a bunch of them here at my house too. Uh,
Nice.
but yeah, it's and I guess you got some black lights because I see the stuff glowing in the back, so that's
Oh
awesome.
yeah.
So tell me about the origin of your name, Pup Gibby. And it's hard for me to tell, but I think your hood is all black.
It is, yeah.
So the origin of a black puppy hood as well. What are the origins of them?
So the reason I chose black initially was I've always felt like the black sheep, like I never really fit in anywhere. My parents were like Roman Catholic,
Oh yeah.
so I was raised to not be anything like this.
Oh yeah, I hear
Um,
you.
And the name was this is right when I turned 18. I just started dating and I had a boyfriend, and he had a party that him and me wanted to go to. So we went to the party one time and it was good, and I got invited to come back a second time. So that second time, uh, I decided I was gonna have alcohol and I was gonna smoke weed, and I was up there and somebody called me, I believe they called me Gabby. And they're like, we should call you Gabby because you gab off all the time. All you do is talk. And I'm like, do not call me that. I will smack you upside the face. And they're like, so how about Gibby? And they were referencing iCarly because Gibby and that was obnoxious as well.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, that's a little bit better. And later on in the party, I believe I ended up doing ketamine, I think. And I was very suggestible. I could do anybody told me to do anything, I would do it. And my friend was like, "Hey, your name is Gibby now. You should like dive through this table."
Oh no.
So I climbed up on top of this dresser and I dove through the table and I screamed Gibby and I broke through it. Like there's a scene in iCarly where Gibby falls from the ceiling.
Oh my God.
So but that's how that happened.
Well, that is one of the best reasons of how you got your name that I've had out of all my interviews that I've done. So you didn't get hurt when you went through the table?
I bruised a rib.
Oh my
It
goodness.
Yeah, it was not good. The funny thing was, like, I didn't feel it until the next day.
Well, of course not.
Yeah, no, I was fucked up.
So what the reasoning behind a black puppy hood?
Mainly just feeling like a black sheep, just
Okay.
not
Just
fitting in.
yeah.
That's the only reason for that.
Okay. All right. So how long have you been in the pup community now?
So I'd say I've been in the pup community for about 3 years now.
Okay.
And then before that, I was kind of always a furry.
Yeah.
And then I just learned once I was introduced to the pup community, I found that pups were more reliable and more like you could count on a pup. And furries, they just, I don't want to say they're bad people, but like you can't really rely on them for shit.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right.
So I kind of now have kind of unassociated myself with that community.
Okay.
So
Well, out of the 3 years, what has been the easiest and then what's been the most difficult part of being a pup in the community?
I think so you said the easiest thing?
Yeah, what's been the easiest thing that you've come into in 3 years of being a pup?
I think the easiest thing for me was starting to like kind of not uh I guess, come out of my shell and really start expressing myself.
Mm-hmm.
Because of the way I was raised, I was very scared to to open up and be like very proud of like my sexuality and what I want to do with it and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Um, the hardest thing in the 3 years of me being a pup was my first partner, who is a pup, who my first alpha, ended up getting me addicted to crystal meth.
Oh no.
Um, and they originally were telling me it was cocaine for
Mm-hmm.
like about 3 weeks. And then I found out what it was. And then that led to about a 2 year uh, addiction where I was using it every day for 2 years. And then that ended up with an episode of psychosis and going to the hospital and then
Mm-hmm.
rehab. And now I've been clean for about 6 months.
Oh, that's awesome. That's good to hear. So, if you could change one thing about our community, what do you think you would want to change?
The main thing I would like to see change is the amount of drug use and specifically the types of drugs that I'm
Mhm.
seeing. Because the most of the drugs that I'm seeing are like the really harmful ones.
Right.
And like I've had friends get hurt. Like I had a friend who loved going out. They would go to all the pop moshes and they ended up getting drugged and now they have PTSD and they can't go out anymore.
Oh, that is a shame. Yeah, I would agree with you on that. So, what advice would you give to someone that's wanting to get into the pup community and become a pup?
I would say take your time. That's not to say you can't get in like quickly.
Mm-hmm.
But make sure you're getting in with like the right group of people that are going to respect your boundaries
Yeah.
and respect you as a person. And if you're going to do anything, stick to weed and psychedelics.
Yeah.
Don't do the hard shit.
I totally understand that one. So what brings you the most joy out of being a pup and pup play?
The main thing for me, what I found is it's one of the only ways I found I can dissociate without drugs.
Hmm.
It just allows me to let go of any stress that's going on, lets me forget about my life for however long I'm in that space.
Yeah.
And it really is like that blissfulness of an actual dog. Like they just live in the moment and like they're just so happy all the time.
Hmm. Well, do you have a favorite play toy that you like as a pup?
I think my favorite thing, my Alpha Marcy has it's like a rubber bone, but then it has like rope attached on either side.
Oh yeah.
That's really fun. I like that a lot.
Well, and we've probably hit on this question a little bit already, but you know, I have found that out of all the interviews that I've done on here, that being a pup does so much good for our mental health.
Yeah.
And how has it been for you?
Um, my mental health is interesting. So I actually got out of the mental hospital about a month ago for a suicide attempt. Um, and it definitely like it helps when I'm like actually like with my alpha or I'm with other pups.
Mm-hmm.
Um, or like sometimes if I'm not going to the wrong areas, I will just wear my gear and just go out because my social anxiety is bad
Yeah.
and it just helps me just tune out. Um, but my mental health in general is most of the time not great.
Are you doing okay now though?
I am doing a lot better now.
Good.
Um, I'm trying right now to get a psychiatrist going, and I'm also trying to get disability, and it's a bitch. It's the government, red
Oh, yes,
tape, and all that.
I understand you on that piece of it too. So what's one thing you wish you knew before you became a pup?
I guess one thing I wish I knew a little bit better is like how to set and maintain boundaries
Hmm.
because I had no knowledge on that. I didn't know how to do that. So I ended up getting into a lot of abusive relationships.
Okay. What about hobbies that you have there in Boulder, Colorado?
Somebody's calling me. You said hobbies?
Yeah, do you have any hobbies that you do there in Boulder?
The main hobbies at the moment are mycology, so the study of fungus and mushrooms and mold.
Hmm.
Uh, and not just like psychedelic mushrooms, like I like all sorts of different things.
Okay.
It just fascinates me. I think mushrooms can solve a lot of issues we're gonna have in the future.
Yeah. What about pets? Do you have any I know we had just briefly chatted about some dogs earlier, but do you have any pets?
So we have 8 dogs.
Oh my goodness.
We have and here's the kicker. They're pit bulls mixed with a wolf.
Are they really?
So their mom is a blue nose pit, and then their dad was a huge white wolf.
Oh man.
So we have Sophie, she's the blue nose pit. Then we have Lightning, Snowball, and then we have Dragon. We have Bolt. Bolt is, I believe, a husky mixed with a a lab, I think.
Mhm.
And then Tonka is an English bulldog. And then Phronsie and Gretel, 2 wiener dogs.
My goodness, that's I guess that keeps you busy. Just the dogs.
Yes, yes,
Oh
it is
man.
a lot.
So I know in our community there's a lot of, if you want to call them titles. Um, but when you think about beta, omega, or alpha, do you identify as any of those?
I and I now I may be wrong about which one is which, but I feel like I'm the one that's like at the very bottom that like is the one that tries to break up fights with like humor.
Okay.
Um, so that's typically me.
Okay. All right. And what about, we've heard so much, especially here in Florida, about people's pronouns because we have an idiot governor. But do you have specific pronouns that you identify with?
So for the most part, I've always hated like labels, so I was non-binary for a while,
Uh-huh.
but I'm feeling more like gender fluid at this point.
Okay.
So honestly, it's like anybody can use any of them, like they, them, she, her, he, him.
Hmm.
Like it really just like my it switches so often.
Okay. All right. That's understandable. So what's the puppy life like in Boulder? What kind of events do you guys have going on there?
There's not really much in Boulder, but in Denver, there's a lot. There's a night that's at a bar called Sweet. There's a pup mosh that goes on at a bar called Eagle. There's
Hmm.
another one at Trade. Trade is my personal favorite. I love Trade. Great people, great staff, great environment, good music. The drinks are fucking strong as hell. They're not that much. So
Well,
that's my go-to spot.
that sounds like a good time to me. So,
Yeah. And the funny thing is you can go there like all the time, even when there's not mosh, and there will at least be one pup in there, at
really,
least.
yeah, I like that.
Like it's a really good spot. And it's
Yeah.
small. The owner is also I think the owner might be a pup. I think. I could be wrong on that,
Okay,
but they're very pup friendly.
nice. Well, let's say you can ask my next interview pup a question about being a pup community. What do you think you would want to know?
I guess the question I would have is like what do the moshes look like? Because I've had pups come from like other states and say that our moshes here are like really weird.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I want to know like what other pups moshes look like because I've been told by a lot of out of staters that ours look kind of weird and strange.
Okay, okay. So this question for you came from Pup Moto. He's a local pup here in Orlando. Actually, same as he's a member of the Hound Pound here in Orlando with me. Uh,
Okay.
and and he wanted to know what made you take the step to become a pup.
For me, it was honestly to have like a safe place to stay. Because I had been kicked out of my mom's place and I was living with roommates.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had an attempt there with those roommates. And I had on a dating profile on Grindr that I was interested in pup play.
Mm-hmm.
And my ex at that point saw that, hit me up on there, came in, saw what I had done to myself, and like beat the shit out of my roommates for just leaving me like that.
Mm.
Took me to their place, cleaned me up, got me all set up. They bought me this hood, and I lived with them for like a year and a half. And then their drug use and my drug use got really bad, and then they left me homeless. And
Oh my goodness.
yeah, it's a whole ordeal.
You've had a life, buddy.
Yeah, yeah.
So if other pups wanted to reach out to you, maybe they see you here on Unleashed and want to say hi, how might they reach out to you?
I think my Instagram is probably the best way.
Okay. And we'll make sure we include that on the video when I get it done. So any last words from Pup Gibby?
Don't be afraid to be yourself. If people are telling you what to do and your instincts are telling you to do something else, fucking do it.
There you go. Well, it has been such a pleasure to sit here and get to gab with Gibby and everything. So I
Hell
will
yeah.
be hopefully be talking to you again soon. All right.
Hell yeah.
All righty.